Yes, everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Monday. Thankfully, a short week for us, particularly in the UK, with Good Friday, bank holiday, a long Easter weekend. Fantastic. And hopefully West Ham won't ruin it with losing Newcastle Saturday afternoon, 12:30 kickoff. I don't think he will. We'll talk about that tomorrow in terms of the Newcastle injury crisis they are facing at the moment. But anyway, it's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. As always, check them out for the latest news, reviews, and opinions. Now, on a Monday, we usually do the Academy show. But because a lot of the players are on on international duty, obviously we haven't played. The 18s, 21s haven't played. A number of the guys out on loan are on sort of international duty as well. We've amalgamated it into one today. So it's maybe a slightly longer Hammers Headlines, but it's Hammers Headlines meets the Academy show. So lots to talk about. Lots of stories to get through. So let's start with what should we start with? So let's start with some good news. We'll start with good news. Actually, it's not all, actually it's pretty much it's most good news anyway. Anyway, we'll start with something I mentioned the weekend. But a number of the academy players, a couple have signed deals with the club, which secures their short-term future with West Ham with the academy. The first one is Josh Briggs. Josh has signed his first pro deal, the Northern Ireland centre-back. As we said, a lot of similarities with a certain former number 41 in terms of his stature, the way he plays. So you never know. No pressure, Josh, but he signs his first pro deal and very happy he was too about it. Obviously, they're being signed with Kevin Keane and the academy director, Kenny Brown. Elsewhere, another player, a guy who I speak about very highly, has signed a new deal with the club, and that is Mr. Julie Robinson. As I said, this guy is mustard. This guy could be our problems to our solve in terms of having an attacking right back, sort of an Emerson-esque type play on the right-hand side. He signed a new 2.5-year deal with the club. He can play full-back, but also more than comfortable playing wing-back and also a winger as well. And he signs a new deal until June 2026. He's made 10 appearances in the under-21s this year so far. And has helped reach the under-21s reach the last 16 of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, as well as the Premier League International Cup semi-final against PSV Eindhoven, which takes place next week. Week off next, I think, at Dagenham Redbridge. A former England international at 15 and 17 level, the Bethnal Green born Robinson was delighted to sign a new deal with the club, which has called his home for nearly 14 years. Wow. He said, I'm really happy to get another contract at the club. I've been here since I was 6. It's a huge moment. It shows that West Ham has a big trust in me and believes I can make the next step into the first team, and hopefully I can show them that I can do that. I've had a couple of injuries in my first year as a pro, but that's made me hungrier and I appreciate playing a lot more. I mean, this guy is good. He's very, very attack-minded. He likes to get forward. Nobes has praised his effort, saying he's a hugely likeable character. We're thrilled that he will continue his progress with West Ham. His journey to this stage has not been the easiest, and he's shown huge dedication and determination to overcome the setbacks he faced during his first season as a pro. He was pictured signing the deal with Mark and with obviously under-21 manager Steve Potts. Great to see. He actually scored in the win against Dinamo Zagreb not in the quarters. We played Brighton in the quarters, but he's very, very good. He's very, very good. And as I said, if you watch the Academy show every Monday, and I rave about this guy. absolutely rave because I think he's brilliant. Elsewhere, not West Ham related contract news, but contract news which could be West Ham related. Player we were heavily linked with in the summer, Jack Clark, Sunderland's Jack Clark, former Spurs and Leeds man. He apparently, according to, bear with, according to iNews on Friday, they said that he will not sign a new deal as the Black Cats are refusing to break their wage structure to keep him. And apparently they will opt to listen to offers for the 23-year-old due to the fact that he's entering the final years of his contract. So, apparently Lazio turned down an offer. They turned an offer down from Lazio for worth up to about $6.5 million for him in January. So, a player we've been heavily linked with, homegrown as well, but entering the last few years of his contract at Sunderland, unlikely to sign a new deal. So, it could be some movement for him in the summer potentially, when he's maybe even slightly cheaper because he's only got a couple of years left on his deal. Let's talk about the other side of contracts. So at the moment, we're going through a period. We're seeing a lot of players, a lot of youngsters being informed of whether they're going to be being given new deals. The fact that we're signing new deals for some players. We're obviously discussing long-term futures of others. We've seen a few players getting trials, all at QPR, it seems. Tyrone Ekpata, Swamoni, and Blaze as well. This gentleman, Blaze. He is, when was it on? I've got it here. On what day was it? Well, it would have been last week sometime. But apparently, Blaze Nwandi has been on trial at QPR. Now, that would assume that he's not going to be offered a new deal. His contract expires this summer. He was one of several players of teams around the area. There was Fulham, a couple of Fulham guys, Ipswich, couple of Ipswich guys and Blaze as well. All four were given trials as they were expected to be released from their contracts at the end of the season. We've seen a similar thing at the moment with Lewis Brown, Kenny's son. He's not going to be offered a new deal at Arsenal under 18s. And so he was currently on trial at West Ham, getting a few games under his belt as well. Not just for West Ham, but obviously we know that these things, a load of scouts do turn up to these events, and so they can have a look. So, like, for example, at the under-21s the other week, Pat Holland was there, Patsy, and Mervyn Day. I think they are scouts for Arsenal. They get contracted out and stuff like that. So they're scouts there all the time. But it's interesting to see that they're looking. I mean, the fact is, if someone like Devine and Barmer isn't getting much game time, Wendy isn't going to get much game time on top of that as well. So you can see, and the likes of people beneath him coming through, like Josh Ajala as well, the club have got a lot of hope for. You've got the likes of Callum Marshall, who's obviously out on loan. You've still got Cam Schweier as well. There's a lot of youngsters, sort of in and out around that sort of 17 to 20 age groups, and Blazer just isn't, maybe going to get the game time that he deserves. So, good luck to him. Good luck to him. It's not the nice side of the academy, but it happens, unfortunately. Elsewhere, let's talk about some of the academy players on loan. Despite it being International Week, obviously a lot of the lower league sides were playing. Dan Chester's played actually played the first 90 minutes as Salford won. Again, they've been on a bit of a run recently. He started at right wing back. See, Dan Chesters is another person who could come back from he's been playing very well in the loan spells at Salford City, and we need some sort of cover at right back. He was a right winger. He was converted to a right wing back and a right back as well by Steve Potts, and he's doing really well and playing the first 70 minutes of Salford win 2-1 away at Nottingham Forest and Notts County rather, and that's got them up to 19th. In League Two, which they say was a win they desperately needed. Elsewhere in the National League, that's it. That's the one in the National League. Kean Forson, again, another player who's playing really well out on loan for Daggers. It was a 0-0 draw. for Dagenham and Redbridge at the Chigwell Conjunction Centre against Oldham Athletic. Daggers are still still 12th. Kian was booked. Shows a bit of aggression, but he's been playing really well on loan as well. We know that. So we know Colton Cole is the loan manager, so he goes around and keeps an eye on all these as well. Was previously Paul Konchesky, so it's good to see. So a good point there for the Daggers. And lastly, to finish off, West Ham women unfortunately lost this on the weekend to Chelsea. A dubious goal was chalked off by West Ham for West Ham, but we lost 2-0 at home at the Chigwell Construction Centre in front of a really big crowd, actually. Obviously, with over 3,500 people at Dagenham and Redbridge, which was fantastic to see. The girls made a good account of themselves. But I mean, Chelsea are one of the sides that dominate the WSL. That puts them, at 11th in the WSL. And we've got 5 fixtures left now. We've got Brighton, Hove Albion, Man City, Aston Villa, Leicester, and Spurs left to conclude this season. And the performance was good, but obviously the final result wasn't against the league leaders. But there should be enough positivity going into Skinner's side ahead of that late of the running left for the season, but desperately need some points. That's for sure. That is for sure. And that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time. As always, don't forget to check out needsofmybrown.com. Also, don't forget to check out beer52.com/West Ham if you want some really good beers, light or dark. It's up to you in terms of the types of beers you want. And as I said, keep an eye on the channel. Loads coming up, including a very, very, very good My Hammers 11, which will probably out on Wednesday. But we'll be putting a few teasers, putting a few little clips just to whet your appetite and a moose-boosh, so to speak, in terms of that. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends. Get those Easter eggs in, and see you later. Robbie Slater. Much love. Bye-bye.